The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
As a former New Hampshire state representative who marched with Dr. Martin Luther King in 1963, he currently serves on the New Hampshire Commission for Human Rights. He's a product of Birmingham, Alabama, where at one time he had to guess how many jelly beans were in a fruit jar just to be able to vote.
We've come a long way, but we're not there yet.
Together we will explore the visible laws, invisible laws, and the structures above and beneath our human surface that keep us reaching for the stars. It is his goal to work with you in putting Nashua back on top, to be voted the #1 city in the nation again.
We are in a crisis situation, and that's what we're going to talk about.
I'm Harvey Key. Welcome to Nashua Strong.
Hello, Nashua, New Hampshire. I hope you're faring well in this pandemic. If you're not, it's your fault. Or maybe it's not your fault. Maybe it's somebody else's fault. Someplace in Washington, D.C., who knows? Maybe at the State House, who knows? But you have to take care of yourself. I want to give you a little tip. This morning, my kids sent me a little notice and said, Dad, you know, when we were young, growing up with the lady you're going to interview today, you used to put Vicks Vapor Rub in our nose, in our ears, and sometimes we ate it, and we got well. Do you think the virus would be happy about Vicks Vapor Rub? Well, I don't want to promote, but I don't mind promoting the Vicks Vapor Rub because it's universally very good for fevers, headaches, colds, all those kind of things young people and older people get burdened with. So I had put some in my nose, I put some on my temporal regions, and I actually ate a little bit of vapor before I got here. So the bug is not coming to the vapor. That's an extra prevention. So having said that now, I'm so happy to be back. I had to stay out a bit because at my age, I shouldn't tell you. I'm not going to tell you that I'm 88 years old last week. And they said, if you're over 80, you're in trouble. I don't think I'm in trouble because I take care of myself. My wife takes care of me. The kids take care of me, so I'm in good shape. I'm happy to be back with you, and I hope all of you are safe and well. Continue to stay above ground. Stay the distance. Stay alive. Respect others. Wear the mask. Wash your hands, and do the things that the scientists say do. If you do that, we're going to be okay. Now, it's been a long time, and I don't need to take up your time to tell you who I am. I'm so happy to be here with you. But I have a young lady with me today that I am more than honored to say hello to on the stage of this television station and have her talk about her. My career, we grew up together here in this city. And, you know, I won't say we could ever plan it this way because it wouldn't have worked out. But it happened that she was a little girl long ago when I was a fully grown man, and my kids grew up together here in Nashua, New Hampshire. We've endured a fantastic number of years together here in Nashua, New Hampshire, because her parents and other parents like her parents helped build this city in all kinds of different ways. And never would I have thought that this little girl, Melanie Levesque, would become a senator. It wasn't planned. She didn't think about it when she was 10 years old, I don't believe. Never thought about it. But she was a fast learner, I heard. She knew a lot of stuff that people shouldn't know at her age. Maybe she did, or maybe she didn't, I'm not sure. But I am so honored to introduce to some of the 90,000 of you out there and present to others who have not met her and seen her and hear her eloquence in terms of what she has done since being elected to the House of Representatives. I can't remember how many years. I'll ask her in a few minutes. And what she has done as a senator. I love her oratory. I love her thinking. And one time we had a discussion about rights. And she said to me, Harvey, you know, when we're all born, every one of us have a conscience. I said, yeah, Melanie. And she said, where did that conscience come from? I said, Melanie, I don't know. She said, I don't know either. But does it give us rights? She said, yep. So then, therefore, everyone has a right to take a position of how their consciousness or their consciousness tells them that's their right. And it's the right of the opposition or other person to take a stand against that. And if the one who has the better debating system shall win, then that's the right of that person. Now, I won't go on with that, but I want you to know that Melanie is not only adept at legislating and crossing the aisles, which I love about her. She reaches where people have not reached before. And that's so important to this state and to our government and to our citizenship. So without any further long-winded Harvey, let me introduce you to Melanie Levesque. Welcome, Melanie.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Harvey Key. It's a pleasure to be sitting with you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Let me ask you a couple of questions. And I this is rather routine because we want to know, where were you born?
I was actually born in Roxbury, Mass, and moved to Nashua when I was about 3 years old.
And you never moved away?
Not for long.
Not for long, but you
No.
came back. This is home.
Yeah, this is home. Yeah.
Where did you go to school? Which schools?
I went to White Wing Kindergarten and Broad Street School, and they bused us to Fairgrounds Junior High, or Fairgrounds Elementary School, and then Fairgrounds Junior High, then Nashua High, the old one on Elm Street.
Yeah.
After graduating from high school, I went to several different colleges, Daniel Webster College. And
Fast Learning took you there?
Fast Learning. Well, the joke is I majored in socializing, so I knew everybody.
Yeah.
I knew everybody. Unfortunately, my classes weren't transferable to the community college, but I went to the community college and received an associate's degree, then back to Daniel Webster College for a bachelor's degree, then Southern New Hampshire University for a master's degree. So I've been to all the schools.
That's great.
Yes. Yeah.
Where do you think you had the best time learning experience? Which school?
Well, I think Daniel Webster College, where I majored in socializing, because
Social what?
socializing, making friends, meeting new people. It was a time where I didn't have to work as much. I could focus on school. After that experience, I actually became the guardian of my brother and sister, Mark and Cindy. So any schooling after that, I was either working at night and going to school during the day, or working in some fashion, working full-time. For example, at Digital Equipment Corporation, I worked there full-time and I went to school at night. So,
You've worked all your life.
well, since I was
That's
16.
a good thing.
16, yeah.
Yeah. How long did you serve in the House of Representatives?
I was a rep for 6 years,
Yeah.
on and off. I was in for 2, out for 1, and then in for 1.
And that's all from Milford?
Hollis, Brookline, and Mason.
You live in Brookline.
I live in Brookline.
And what is your district?
Currently, or as a senator?
Yeah.
So as a senator, I have Hollis, Brookline, Mason, Greenville, New Ipswich, and Rindge, and 3 wards in Nashua, 1, 2, and 5, which I have to tell you I'm thrilled about because I grew up in Ward 1. And to be able to
Where is
serve in
Ward 1?
Nashua, the Nashua Mall, Broad
okay.
Street School is
Yeah,
the voting
yeah, yeah,
location.
yeah.
But when I was knocking on doors in 2018, I would say to people, I used to play in these woods. This was all woods. It wasn't
Yeah.
home. So, I mean, it was very, brought back a lot of memories. I would see parents of kids that I went to school with. So I love Nashua. Just seeing the kids playing in the street. Where I live, you have to make a play date.
Yeah.
And we don't live as close together. So you can't just knock on your neighbor's door and say, can Cindy come out?
Yeah.
But in Nashua, you can.
Yeah.
And it was really nice.
This is a community. I want to call it. You could reach out of your back door and shake hands with the senator.
Yeah.
What do they call that? This is a neighborhood politics.
Well,
Something like
being
that?
neighborly, being a
Yeah.
community, yeah.
Why did you get involved in politics?
Well, I've always been interested in volunteering, in helping to make larger decisions and making things work. I was a homeroom rep in high school. I was always like a goodwill ambassador. As I said, I majored in socializing in college.
What?
Socializing, being friendly.
Spell the last name?
No, it's just being friendly.
No, the last word.
Oh,
Social what?
socializing.
Socializing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
That's
a little bit
supposed to be
slow.
a joke. Supposed to be a joke, but I did get to meet a lot of people, and I've always been very friendly, very interested in learning people's stories and helping people out. So, but I was always focused on my career and my
what
education.
is your career?
I'm a telecom consultant.
Telecom consultant.
Yeah,
Where did you
that's-
get the basic education?
Working for AT&T for 7 years. Taught
And where was that taking place?
That was AT&T was in Bedford.
Now, what year was this?
Oh gosh,
Because I went to work for AT&T in '80s.
Okay, so it was probably 1998 that I started.
Oh, okay. Then
Yeah.
we went from AT&T to 7R Box. I worked for New England Tel, 9X, and Verizon.
Yeah,
And I retired when you started.
yeah, something
Congratulations,
like
you're
that.
carrying on the great work, lady.
Yeah. Well, I caught on fast because it seemed where we worked, I was a data project manager, and nothing ever billed right, nothing ever installed on time, and our sales reps were trying to sell, but not considering what does it look like in the back end. So I started fixing problems through my my office in Bedford, and then throughout the district. So that was really exciting to be able to go.
Did you ever run into Linda Gathright?
No, I didn't. No.
Linda Gathright and I worked together in Boston and what have
Yeah.
you. Yeah, okay.
No, I didn't.
Well, that's great.
But that's how I became a telecom
So
consultant.
now you have your own business.
For 20 years, my sister and I have had our own
What is
business.
it called?
TCS of America Enterprises,
And-
LLC.
And you have a huge organization or small?
No, it's very small. For us, we could have had a huge organization if that's what we wanted. But for me, I wanted to give back to the community. I wanted to serve. For my sister, she wanted to play golf, and she's a very good golfer.
I know.
Yes.
I know that.
Yes.
So you've done all of those kind of things. Now you bring all of that to our wonderful state senate. All of this background, fixing problems, socializing, reaching
Right.
across the aisle,
Yeah.
making friends whether they like it or not, because everybody really wants to be a friend. Nobody wants to. The worst thing you could do to anybody is nothing. I know you heard it before.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be attended to. So you have that unique skill and talent to reach across the aisle. When they say no, you say, oh, yes. And they come across because they really want to. They're bashful and scared and fear of differences. So you come to them as a senator or as Melanie, however
Melanie.
you do it.
Yeah.
But all you're trying to do is get something done for our state and for the people of this state. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. And whether it's in the State House or in the field, in our towns, working with constituents, I get calls from all kinds of people. I never ask them, are you Republican or Democrat?
Doesn't matter.
No, we just get to work and we help tend to their needs. And, you know, sometimes we gain great friendships from
Yes.
that. And I really enjoy that most out of everything that we do with the legislation.
And you know, one of the things I think I spoke with my family just recently. We have a huddle 2-3 times a week. We chat, and I listed the different places that we moved. There's about 8-9 different places, and what has happened? They didn't know the people they were going to be living next door to, and could care less. They just needed a house and a home, you know. So we did that, and what happened? They developed fantastic relationships throughout the world by reaching, just being accepting and accepted. So it's also good. Now that you are up there in the house, I want to ask you one question, and that question is, what have you done in the House? Not in the House, but in the Senate. Yeah, well, maybe you could tell me what did you sponsor a bill in the House?
In the House, I would say that my biggest bill that I sponsored was creating the statewide emergency notification system for New Hampshire.
What does that mean?
Well, it's like 911. It's like reverse 911. So I worked with the Department of Safety. They had all these numbers because when people dial 911, they call into the Department of Safety. So they have all these numbers. What they wanted was the ability for the department to call out to the communities in the event of a flood or a fire or emergency. And so I worked on that bill for like a year and a half. I sat with a whole room full of telecom consultants and lobbyists and technical people, having them tell me that we couldn't do it. And I'm a telecom consultant. So I'm like, I know we can do this.
Yes.
And what do we need to do to get it passed? And they told us what their concerns were. We ironed them out, and we passed the bill. And in the House, there was only one person who voted against it.
Marvelous.
Yeah,
Marvelous.
and it's also in place today. So
What's the name of the bill?
well, I don't have the bill number, but it's the emergency notification system for New
Great.
Hampshire.
Congratulations. And
Thank
this
you.
is what we need. We need people to
Yeah.
come and help solve problems and not make problems or look for problems. Some of us go there looking for problems. You don't know that. I do. But now you moved to the House. Which committee were you on in the House?
In the House, I was on Science and Technology and Energy.
That's where you belong.
For 2 years. And then for 4 years, I was on election law. And that had become my passion, is to work on election law.
Yeah. Why?
Well, I think about our history, as you know, as an African American and my ancestors not having the right to vote freely, of suppression, of knowing that your vote is your voice. This is the opportunity that we have to express the policies that we believe in. And I wanted to make sure that everyone has that ability to do so.
That is to help
So-
us make a more perfect union. It means all of us must have that right.
Yes.
I said it to you earlier about the consciousness, and none of us really know where that comes from. Nobody hasn't found it out yet. But all of us have it, and that right to have what you believe is in here for all of us.
Yeah.
But all of us in this country are so blessed with living in this country. Even there's so much work to do. We are working it out, and with people like you, we're going to find some answers. It may take
hope
another
so.
100 years or so.
I don't have that much time.
Oh, wait a minute. What bill in the Senate have you blessed and passed? that you think affected all of the people in New Hampshire?
Well, I would have to say the one that we passed was the ability to allow any citizen to take an absentee ballot due to COVID. So because of passing that bill, anyone can take an absentee ballot because of COVID. Before that, you had to have a reason. Either you're disabled, or it's a religious holiday, or you have a babysitting issue, but you had to be very specific and select what is the reason why you're not
That bill
able to
has
vote.
passed.
Yes, the bill is passed, and today anybody can take an absentee ballot and vote.
That's fantastic. Prior to that, they couldn't.
Correct.
And that is a hamper, it's an obstacle, it's a hurdle to get over to get many people. Have we met our numbers in this state of absentee ballots being posted yet?
Oh, we have, it's like 178,000 that have been processed so far. We're expecting 30% of the ballots to be absentee. And I also want to add that the bill to allow you to vote absentee during COVID is just for this year. So next year it will be null and void. But my goal,
But you could resurrect it.
well, our goal is to have no excuse absentee balloting.
Yeah.
And we're proving with this bill, with COVID, that it doesn't create a lot of problems. As a matter of fact, it may make it easier for our people to vote. So
And
that's
the governor passed it?
passed the COVID bill.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Just the
great.
COVID bill.
So how do you get along with the governor?
Oh, I've been in his office several times to talk with him about some of the bills, like my SMART Act bill,
Yes.
which is a real passion of mine. Unfortunately, he vetoed that. But,
What is it called?
The SMART Act, Secure, Modern, Accurate Registration Technology. And it's a form of automated voter registration through the DMV. And I worked for several years on that one as well, because good things take time, right?
Yeah.
And getting people on the same page and understanding how it works is really critical. And although I started having meetings with the DMV, the Secretary of State, very early on, it took them probably a year to figure out that all I wanted was a file to come over to the Secretary of State.
Yeah.
And we reduced our fiscal note from like $4 million for the first year to $752,000
Wow.
the first year.
That's over 3 million savings.
Yeah. And we would be using HAVA funds, Help America
Yeah.
Vote funds.
Now, that has not been passed.
No, it has not been passed, and I will bring it back again. But I will
You
say,
know, again, let's go back to what, Governor Sununu, I think, is a very fair man. But he has rights too. So what you presented to him, his consciousness, we don't know where it came from, says, no, we can't do that. But present it again and again and again. And I think you might be the winner. And no, let's say this. I don't think they're ever winners and losers. They're winners and learners.
learn from,
You learn from not winning.
yeah.
You don't
your
lose
defeat.
anything.
Yeah.
And we need to hopefully think about how we use the language. Losers. None of us are losers. None of us are losers.
That's true.
We are winners for not knowing how to win. I think that's okay. You bought it.
You know, I believe that if at first you do not succeed, try again.
Wow. So
I will.
So much etched in stone. What else would you say to our 90,000 visitors on this station that you're looking at? Say hello to Senator Melanie Levesque, who's going to win. And we always positively say she's going to win a second term because she brings so much technical knowledge and socializing, that word she likes, knowledge. And she's reached across the aisle in so many different ways. And that's what we need in the House. We don't need people standing up and ranting and raving for one side. We need to rave and rave for New Hampshire, for Nashua, for all of New Hampshire, which is the most beautiful state in the country, and we find people coming here, they need to get in line to get here. What else would you say, Senator, that you would like to say to our audience for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Well, first of all, that I've been endorsed by so many great groups. For example, the Teachers Association. I care very deeply for our teachers, and that's from my personal experience with some of the teachers that I had when I grew up. Working with the firefighters, I'm a big supporter of the firefighters. I was endorsed by the New Hampshire Police Association and the New Hampshire Troopers, which is very important to me because some of the work that we did at the end of the session dealt with police reform. So after the murder of George Floyd, the outbreaks throughout the country, people saying, we've had enough and things need to be done, things need to change. And I was very pleased that we were able to bring about some of that change, and even more pleased that we did it with the assistance of law enforcement. So they were right in there with us, creating these bills, these reforms, banning the chokehold, banning the use of privatized prisons, officer misconduct reporting methods, and funding psychological testing. So right hand in hand with law enforcement, we did that. And I believe that there's still work to do. We know that from the Governor's LEAC Commission. But when we make law, I want to be at the table to help make law hand in hand with our law enforcement. We have some great chiefs of police. Chief Kerrigan from Nashua, they do a wonderful job with community policing. Chief Hebecki from Hollis, they're people that I tap into all the time. If I have questions, I call, text, send them an email, and they can, help me out. But I can also share with them my thoughts and my feelings as well. So you have to have that trusting relationship, that ability to
That goes
be
back
honest.
to socializing.
Yes.
I think you're so fantastic. You are the epitome of what senators ought to be. May I add one thing or suggest one thing? Mm-hmm. In your meetings with law enforcement, training, I know we have the best police force in the country. Mm-hmm. I say that because Mike is listening. I know you're listening. Because I love our police department.
Yeah.
And we in the community also have a responsibility to respect the police department. Mm-hmm. In the police training business, in the manual, is it possible to add consequences? See, training is wonderful. Mm-hmm. You could train all day, but if you're guilty of infracting the training policy, what is the consequence?
Yeah.
And I don't think we have that. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. I haven't investigated, but I'm sure you will take a look at that, please.
I will take a look at that.
Because without consequences, training doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and I believe that there are consequences, but I have to dig in to find out exactly what and where. So they have pretty tight standards, pretty tight training. One of the issues is that not everyone has that training. And we need to make sure that every officer goes through this universal training.
And one of the consequences should be reduction of income. Hold the money. That's what runs this country.
Yeah.
So you can't say, okay, you are suspended with pay. You are suspended without 6 weeks of pay or 6 months of pay. Something like it affects their pocketbook.
Right.
See, training and say, well, you can go to a mental health institution for 6 weeks, or you're suspended without pay. You got pay. What difference does it make? You're on vacation.
Yeah.
So I'm suggesting if you would take that, and next time I meet with the police chief, I will suggest that, and hopefully he will buy into it. But that's a process too. It's not just do it. You know,
Yeah.
it's not one person making that decision. It's a few people making that decision. So it's not left up to Mike to do it. It's for his officers, staff to decide, yeah, this is a good thing to do and do it. Hopefully they will. One other question I'm going to ask you. What do you think you could say today that will affect positively all of these 90,000 people and those around the world? That's a big one, Melanie, to go forward with. One statement. Going forward in our country, in our state, in our city, in our world, from the Madam Melanie Levesque.
Well, I would have to say if there's one statement that needs to be made, it's that we're all here in this together. And we need to bring decency back. We need to talk with each other and listen to each other and hear each other and respect each other. Even if we have differences of opinion, that's okay. That's not a bad thing. But respect each other.
Would you say, and would you say differences makes us grow?
Yeah, we learn
How
more.
can I grow alone? How can
Yeah.
I grow in asylum? How can I grow in a tube? If I don't find if there's no differences, there's no growth. Would you agree?
Yeah.
I love
agree.
what you said. Senator, thank you so much. And I'm so honored to have, used to be a little girl in our community, now a fully grown, beautiful woman who's a fantastic senator right here in Nashua, New Hampshire. Thank you so much, Senator. And I
Thank
hope
you.
and call on me when you need me. Come back here a lot of times.
I shall.
And I would like to have you on my show, nobody else's show. I'm a little bit jealous. I want to hold you.
Yeah.
But no, if anybody else wants you, bring them on. But we're all in this together to do one thing in my mind, is to become a better human being as we live in America. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.